Hi, good morning. I'm Ellen Lewis from Crazy for You, and welcome to Lunchtime Live. At Lunchtime Live, this is where I answer the questions that have come in through email or text or whatever over the week, as well as additional questions that maybe come in during the chat. So if you have a question that you would like me to try and answer today, or something that you'd like me to feature in the future, go ahead and put it in the comments. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that when I do make a video on it, that you'll be notified. So today's question comes from Lori. And Lori was planning on spending her holiday weekend knitting, and then Saturday morning I get this email. And Lori writes, "Good morning, Ellen, and happy 4th of July. I'm working on the sleeveless top from Noro issue 16. I've made it to the arm side and now have to work back and forth on the chart. Here's my question. On the wrong side, reading the chart, when I get to the SKP, which way do I slip the first stitch? As if to knit or as if to purl? I've tried it both ways and it looks twisted. On the wrong side, I'm slipping the first, purl the stitch, then pass the slip stitch over. On the wrong side, instead of SKP, should I purl two together? I was doing great until I got to this part. Thanks, Lori." Hi, Lori, and thank you for the question. It's a great question. It's absolutely brilliant. So just to give you guys some context, I'm going to share my screen and show you the sweater that she is knitting. So this is a beautiful sweater in Noro Akari by Mari Tubita. And you can see that it is, well, you can't see, but trust me that it's knitted in the round up to the armholes. And then you have to begin working back and forth. So to answer Lori's question, which is which way do I slip that stitch on the wrong side to work SKP, which means slip one, knit one, pass, slip, stitch over. Which way do I slip that stitch on the wrong side? And the short, hard answer is it doesn't matter because it's going to be twisted anyway. It's going to look really wonky because SKP or SPP, which would be slip one, purl one, pass, slip, stitch over, is a left-leaning decrease. And it's a left-leaning decrease on the right side as well as on the wrong side. So if you're working SKP or SPP on the wrong side, it's still going to be left-leaning, which means that when you turn it around, it's going to look right-leaning on the front. And what you want is a decrease that is left-leaning on the front side. So the short answer is rather than working any kind of slipped past decrease on the wrong side, you're going to want to do a slip, slip, purl. So the opposite of a slip, slip, knit is a slip, slip, purl. Okay. So I also wanted to give you a little kind of context generally about working from a chart. So let me go ahead and close this and I will share your screen, share my screen and show you about this chart. Okie dokie. All right. So working a chart, I know we've talked about charts in the past, but let me just go real quick about this chart. And this is not the whole chart from the sweater pattern, but just a portion of it. So when you're working in the round from a chart, you are always working on the right side of your fabric, right? You're never turning your work around to the purl side. You're working around and around. So you're always going to be starting from the right, working across, and then you come around and you work across, and you come around and you work across. So you're always beginning at the right side of your chart here when you're working in the round. So you work across, yarn over, knit some stitches, do knit two together, purl some stitches, and then you come around and you do that again, okay? And then you get up to here and you are purling some stitches, and then you've got a left-leaning decrease and some knits and some yarn overs and such. So as you're going around working in the round, everything is fine. And then you get up to the armhole where you have to divide. And so that first row, you know, it's going to be somewhere up here, you know, after you've worked the length of your garment. You get to that first row and you work across here, and then you bind off some stitches, and now your purl side is facing you. So let's pretend we're back down here again. Your purl side is facing you. So rather than beginning and working every row from the right side, you're going to be working the knit side from right to left, but you're going to be working your chart on the purl side from left to right, which means you're going to go this way on the purl side. So working across on the knit side, this is going to be a knit two together. And then on the next row, this is not going to be a knit two together, but a purl two together, right? So you do that. And then up here is where you have your slip one, knit one, pass slip, stitch over, and working across and then coming back on your even row on the purl side. This is going to be a slip, slip, purl. Okay. So I hope that that helps. I wanted to show you a couple examples of the way the different decreases look actually in a fabric. So I took a picture of this sweater that I'm knitting, and I have this is the neckline decrease on my sweater. And what I did is I went ahead and I did some different means of decreasing. So there's more than one way to make a left leaning decrease. Are we there? Oh my goodness. So the way to make a left leaning decrease on the knit side is you have a couple options. One is, as this designer has directed, is slip one, knit one, pass slip, stitch over. And right here is where I did that. I want to make sure you guys can still hear me. So just say in the comments, yes, you can hear me. Anyway, so this is where you make, this is where I did a slip one, knit one, pass slip, stitch over. And you can see that decrease. No, you can't, because you can't see my screen. All right, now you can see my decrease. So here is where I made the slip one, knit one, pass slip, stitch over decrease. And the next one that I did, and this is another means of doing a left leaning decrease, this is knitting two together through the back loop. So it's just like knitting two together, except rather than putting your needle through the front of the loops, you're working them together through the back loop. Okay. And then this is the decrease that I typically use is slip, slip, knit. So here is knit, slip one, knit one, pass slip, stitch over, and you can sort of see it. Do you see how the left leg of that result, that stitch kind of leans a little horizontal? So it's fairly noticeable. And then this is the knit two together through the back loop. And right up here, it's almost it's very hard to discern or to see that. This is slip, slip, knit. Okay. And that's worked on the right side. And just to show you how much slip, slip, purl resembles slip, slip, knit, which I consider to be the most attractive, not the most attractive, but the least visible left-leaning decrease, slip, slip, knit. So here is a slip, slip, purl right up here. You can almost not see it, right? That's a slip, slip, purl right there. Now, the slip, slip, purl is just a smidge fiddly, and I am going to make a video on that. I've already recorded the clips to show you how to do that. But in case you find that just too fiddly to work with, you can also purl them together through the back loop, which also makes a left-leaning decrease. It's not quite as flat. You can see that it's this stitch here is twisted. Can you see how that right leg is over, kind of twisted in the front. So, but it's still a left-leaning decrease, and it's still really, really a great deal nicer than having it lean in the opposite direction. Do you know what I mean? So, okay, so that is the difference between the various means of decreasing. So the slip one, knit one, pass slip, stitch over, which honestly, when I started knitting, that was how you accomplished left-leaning decreases. That was the only thing I knew. And then knit two together through the back loop. I've seen that in designs by a lot of British designers. I know Louisa Harding uses that decrease, and I think it's just less fiddly to kind of explain. And then the slip, slip, knit. And I really don't know who invented that. I want to say Mary Walker, Barbara Walker. If you happen to know who invented that or who pioneered that, go ahead and put it in the comments, because I would love to know. And just in case you're wondering, I have seen a lot of designers say, slip the first one as if to knit, slip the second one as if to purl, and then work them, you know, together through the back loop. And I've tried that, and I really don't like it as much because it twists the back stitch. And I think that the slip, slip, knit with the second stitch slipped in the same way is, for me, and that's just my opinion, I think it looks nice and clean. So I would be interested in hearing your experience with slip, slip, knit, or knit two together through the back loop, or any of these other kinds of decreases that lean to the left. I think slip, slip, purl, honestly, is so attractive that a lot of times I'll simply substitute it altogether for any of the decreases that are recommended that lean to the left. So where are we? With a few minutes, let me look at the comments and see if there's anything. Yes. Lori, you're so sweet. So she said that she saved her lunch so that she could join us. You're the best. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yes, Emily is doing this same pattern. So I think that's good that we went ahead on that. And Lori has a great idea too, to always check with the pattern for errata. Errata doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong. Sometimes it's just a clarification, like is in this case, the designer, who's a wonderful, wonderful designer. I love her stuff. This sweater that I have back here is one that she designed that I did last year. So yeah. So anyway, that is all I have for you today, but I do thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this has been helpful for you and that you are understanding working from charts a little better and that you feel a little more comfortable changing those decreases on your knit side and on your purl side. And if there are any questions about joining in the round or working in the round or understanding your fabric in the round versus flat, or working with charts or anything like that that is confusing to you. And honestly, I think some of the most simple things, or we think they're simple or whatever, can really get us stymied. Like if you happen to turn your fabric inside out or backwards. I know that came up in a Friday session. So don't hesitate to ask. I mean, there are no silly questions. We've all had those same issues. We've all struggled with the same kinds of things with our knitting and whatever. So please go ahead and send me an email. You can write it, like I said, in the comments, or if you are, just a little shy, you can send me an email and I will do a video on that. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you soon. Tomorrow night, I am doing a review, kind of a tool talk featuring the Addi Turbo Rocket Square needles, which are very cool square needles with little bumps. So join me at 7 p.m. Eastern time for that. And until we talk again, keep knitting and create something beautiful. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Thanks so much.